wind whistled through the trees, making the leaves flutter. Amidst this, Tomomi, heart-pounding, couldn't believe it. Nanami, whom she had secretly loved, confessed to her. She felt such happiness that the world seemed to vanish. For him, that happiness was overshadowed by an increasing anguish, a torment that clawed relentlessly at her chest, with sharp claws of pain. He understood he should push her away, not due to a lack of shared feelings, but because he was afraid of what Nanami might uncover. So, with the ache in his chest, he felt compelled to reject those emotions. As soon as she stopped speaking, tears threatened to overflow. However, she knew she could not allow herself to appear vulnerable. Not at that moment, not in that place, not at this time. So, without any further delay, he turned around and sprinted to the women's restroom. Her heart felt heavy in her chest, like a solid slab. Upon arriving, she did nothing except slam the door shut behind her and move towards the sink, attempting to catch her breath. However, she then experienced it, a peculiar sensation at the very top of her head. Gradually, she lifted her gaze to the mirror. And then she saw it. Her ears, those adorable cat ears, twitched with joy, reflecting the excitement she felt deep inside, knowing that Nanami shared her feelings. Yet she disagreed, believing that was his true appearance, which was slowly beginning to manifest itself beyond her control. It was too dangerous, she thought. She knew she had to calm herself down before it was too late. If Nanami discovered the truth, she is not truly human, but rather a bakaneko, a creature both feared and despised by humans. All the feelings she had for each other would disappear in a moment. Nanami would despise her, would turn away from her. The idea of that was even scarier than the rejection she had just given. At a certain point in time, she looked down at her trembling hands. She took my looked at her fingers, which had now transformed into feline paws. Desperation gripped her as she struggled to regain control. Not wanting Nanami to see her that way, she thought, squeezing her eyes shut tightly. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, they finally succeeded in suppressing the transformation. Her hands returned to normal, and her ears vanished, hiding once more. Taking a deep breath, she stepped out of the bathroom, but suddenly the rain poured down fiercely, as if the sky mirrored her inner chaos. Cold drops hit her, soaking her in seconds as she ran, using her briefcase for cover. Each step echoed on the wet pavement, and despite being drenched, her mind stayed focused on Nanami. Tomomi hurriedly ran for shelter beneath the awning of a clothes shop, shaking the water out of her hair and glancing at Rupa with a gesture of disgust. Rain was something she had always detested. Each drop seemed to amplify her discomfort. However, at that moment, she had no other choice. While she tried to shake off the wetness, her gaze halted on a figure approaching under the safety of an umbrella. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized it was Nanami. She murmured Nanami's name, barely audible in a whisper. Nanami, for her part, looked at her with a gentle, warm smile, extending the umbrella towards her. She asked Tomomi if she wanted to come to her house, as it wasn't far, and she could stay until the rain stopped. After all, she didn't want her to catch a cold. She said all this with incredible gentleness, her eyes showing sincere concern. After that, she found herself inside Nanami's warm and cozy home, gently rubbing her hair with a soft towel that the other girl had kindly provided for her. She had also changed into fresh clothes, and she felt every bit of moisture being absorbed, leaving her feeling much warmer and more comfortable. Nanami, always so attentive and thoughtful, offered her a steaming cup of hot tea. She also mentioned that her parents wouldn't be home until much later, so she had nothing to worry about. She said this in a casual and carefree manner. Tomomi, who had accepted the cup with trembling hands, couldn't bring herself to look directly at Nanami, as she felt the blush spreading across her cheeks. She softly murmured her thanks for the towel and clothes, feeling somewhat embarrassed. Nanami's gesture, so simple yet filled with warmth, had utterly disarmed her. Nanami smiled once more, this time with a tenderness that made Tomomi's heart race even faster. The warmth and lack of malice in that smile only heightened the emotions Tomomi was trying to control. She felt something deep within her begin to blossom, a torrent of thoughts and emotions that threatened to overflow uncontrollably. How could he be so near to her without revealing that secret he feared so much? And what would happen if Nanami discovered it? The pressure in her chest had become utterly unbearable, so without thinking, Tomomi set the cup down on the table, placed her hands firmly on the table, and stood up with a sudden start. He said it was time to go. He mentioned that he would take the clothes and bring them back to her at a later time. She had spoken in a rushed manner, consistently avoiding looking directly at Nanami, who questioned her if she was absolutely sure. Given that the rain was still pouring down quite heavily, Tomomi reassured her not to worry, mentioning that she could easily purchase an umbrella at a nearby convenience store. Just as she was about to take a step towards the door, a thunderous roar suddenly echoed across the sky, causing the windows to tremble and filling the entire room with an intense blinding light. It was then followed by a bright glow that lit up the entire room for a brief moment, just long enough for Tomomi, in her surprise, to reveal her true identity. Without a second thought, she had jumped towards Nanami in a frantic and terrified rush. Just as the darkness returned, a blackout caused by the lightning had occurred. However, that didn't change the fact that Tomomi found herself in a truly compromising and awkward position. His. Their bodies were so close, she could feel Nanami's warmth. Awareness of her situation hit her immediately. She grabbed Amai, her face burning with embarrassment, and stammered, hastily excusing herself, blaming the lightning for her overreaction, trying to regain her composure as she tried to pull away. Nanami, still underneath Tomomi, didn't seem bothered at all. With a smile barely visible in the gloom, she asked him softly if she was afraid of lightning, she thought to herself, feeling relieved because she hadn't noticed her true appearance in the darkness. However, Nanami brought both of her hands towards Tomomi's waist, gently touching her with such tenderness. This gentle touch caused a delightful chaos throughout her body. In a cute whisper, Nanami told her how truly beautiful she was, even though it was just an involuntary reflection. Made her stop. Nanami's hands were apologizing to her, asking her to let her know directly if she disliked what she was doing. Tomomi, blushing deeply, began to stammer, saying it wasn't that she disliked it. However, she was interrupted by Nanami, who kept speaking, saying that she was truly a terrible and awful person because she didn't know when to give up. And that is because even though she had already been rejected, she kept trying to get closer. But Tomomi, she loudly told him that he was mistaken, that it wasn't her fault, that she was indeed. But before she could finish her sentence, the light turned on completely. That didn't stop Tomomi, as she resignedly decided to tell the truth, revealing she wasn't truly human. She confessed her real feelings to him because she truly loved her. However, the relationship could never be, as she wasn't the one she should truly be with. However, before she was able to proceed with her speech or utter anything further, his lips were gently sealed by a soft and tender kiss from Nanami. After they slightly pulled apart from that contact, she confessed to him that what she had said earlier was not true. She told him that, for her, Tomomi was truly beautiful at that moment. This made Tomomi ask her if her daughter was not scared or worried at all. However, Nanami reassured her, saying not even a little bit, because she truly loved her. She explained that she did not love her for her appearance, since she had not even fallen in love with her looks. I truly loved her for who she was as a person, and I deeply wanted to be with her for the rest of my life. And with that new confession, Toma gathered even more courage. This time she kissed Nanami because she, just like Nanami, had feelings for her. The person she was in love with had confessed to her, and she felt so happy that tears began to well up in her eyes. If you've made it this far, please remember to subscribe, give a like, and share this video. Subscribe to stay updated. So, without further ado, I want to express my gratitude and say, thank you for existing. I'll be waiting for you in the next video. See you later.